Welcome to Tuesday Talks with Shawnee Alliance Church. Each week we gather to discuss how being a follower of Jesus impacts our everyday lives. Whether you have been a believer for a long time or still have lots of questions about faith, we would love to have you join us as we embrace the joy of a transformed life.
Welcome back. This is Tuesday Talks with Shawnee Alliance Church, and my name is Bridgett. I will be your host today. Today is a wonderfully large episode with some amazing, wonderful personalities and voices. This is probably one of the largest podcasts we've ever had, so welcome, ladies. We have Erin Marshall, Myndi Mayer, Kayla Latsha, and Sara Newman.
Woohoo!
And we are all here to celebrate Sara. I don't really like the word retiring. We're going to say that she's going on a new adventure, but not like dying.
Yeah. My favorite joke that I've only heard probably close to 1,000 times is retiring you? No. And that's not that I'm going to be that busy. That's just that I'm a noisy, loud, not retiring person. So.
That is more than okay. Well, I know that you ladies like to have fun. So before we get into our serious emotional conversation, we're going to play Would You Rather.
The tissues?
I didn't sign up for emotional. Hold on,
Welcome to the podcast. So we're going to play Would You Rather for a few rounds, and let me know what you think.
This.
Okay.
And this is why I'm glad the Core 4 is here. This is what it's like in our office pretty much every time we get together. Yeah.
Okay, ready? Would you rather wear a wedding dress every day or have to wear a bathing suit every single day?
Wedding dress.
Ooh.
Mindy says wedding dress.
Is it made out of sweatsuit
pretty
material?
comfortable. I don't know that I'd still fit in it though. It's gonna have to be warm.
I think just a wedding dress.
I'd wear anything other than a bathing suit.
I'm with Mindy. I wear a wedding dress every day.
All right.
Oh, I'd wear a swimsuit, but it'd look like a wedding dress.
Okay. Would you rather have skin that changes color based on your emotions or tattoos that appear all over your body depicting what you did yesterday?
Wow, who thought of these questions?
Good one. You'd be like a human mood ring.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
I don't want, I have a bad check your face thing anyway. I think I'd rather tattoos of what you did yesterday.
What you did yesterday.
Like Maui, but yesterday's events, not big life events.
Oh, like my tattoos would not be that exciting.
Mine either.
I mean,
No.
I think I'd rather have tattoos of what it, because my kids are pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
That would be really, I would pick that one.
Except the
the
tattoo
human
process
mood ring might be kind of fun.
involves needles. Yeah.
I don't think you need to.
I would want to be
My
around you
emotions are
if
easy
you
to
were a
read.
human mood ring.
Yeah.
I'd want to follow you everywhere.
Okay, ready for this one? This is terrible. Would you rather vomit uncontrollably for 1 minute every time you hear the happy birthday song, or get a headache that lasts for the rest of the day every time you see a bird?
Oh, I'd vomit for a minute.
Yeah, I barf all the time. I barf before the
Is there weight
podcast.
loss with that vomit?
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
I love you so much.
Would you rather live in a cave or live in a treehouse?
Treehouse.
Okay, there we go.
That was an easy one.
With a slide.
Ooh, yeah. Like Swiss Family Robinson style.
Yes, best
I had a
treehouse
crush
ever.
on him. He's your grandpa now. But he was my era, so.
Would you rather be able to teleport anywhere or be able to read minds?
Teleport. Think about that
I don't
every
wanna
time
be
I'm
able to
running
read.
late somewhere. Like if I could just teleport.
Yeah.
Right there.
I would be in Aruba right now.
This will be our last one for today. This is a pretty good one. Would you rather never have to be stuck in traffic ever again or never get another cold?
Never get another cold.
Yeah, I'd rather never get another cold. I don't mind being stuck in traffic.
Yeah. I'm thinking because,
We live in Lima, come on.
I would not have to apologize to the Holy Spirit if I don't get stuck in traffic. That's a dilemma.
Too good. Well, today we are here to celebrate Sara. And so, first of all, Sara, can you tell us, I know we've shared a little bit before, how did you end up here? Like, how did you get to Shawnee Alliance?
As the children's
As the
director?
children's director.
Well, I went to church here for a long time, and I got involved in children's ministry because our middle child would not stop crying, and they kept paging me into the nursery.
So you were
Which
sucked
segued,
in.
yes, I was sucked in. And then as I volunteered for probably 25 years, maybe. No, Buck was 21. And, but I had gone to a children's ministry conference up near Chicago. And I heard Jesus. I was sitting in the front row with Myndi Mayer, and I heard Jesus say, "You can do this." And this was a huge church. It was a big, like, almost a Broadway show production. And I burst into tears, and, I'm touched by the Holy Spirit, but I was panic-stricken. So for 10 years, I did anything I could to avoid showing any kind of leadership skills to prove to Jesus that he missed the mark.
Wisely.
But it never left my brain. And so I got the call, and I had a lot of tears, and I told Ted, I'm going to say yes, but I'm probably going to get fired. And then that became my vision statement.
Yes, your motto.
I'm going to get fired any minute now. And 12 years later, I am grieving, leaving the best job I've ever had. What an adventure. And I'm actually jealous of Erin and Kayla because I just am reminiscing about, I remember the first trunk or treat. I remember the first Christmas program. And then the things that are revealed to you and how you grow. And then even my staff retirement party was a blast, and I was released. He's still teaching me. So I can't wait to see what the next part brings, even though, Jesus, you haven't told me what I'm doing. But, hello, is the mic on?
That's so good. So, ladies, and you guys can go in any order you'd like to. We'll talk about like the best memories in a moment. But what is your very first memory of Sara?
Oh, I can go first. So my two children were quite young. They were transitioning from the nursery over to K4 Kids. And my middle child, which was my youngest at the time, was like all about it. It was my oldest that was a little intimidated, and she's still like that. But I just remember Sara coming down the hallway and saying, Brooklyn, Drew, come on back. And just their faces lit up, and they were all about going. And I just was so blessed as a mom at that time. Like, Miss Sara rocks, and she gets my kids. And so that'll be a forever memory of mine.
That's good.
I actually knew about you before I knew you. I heard stories about Miss Sara this, because my kids are still really, listen, I still have to talk to Noah because he'll say, well, when I'm 5 and I go to kindergarten, I will get to see Miss Sara. And I'm like, actually? Yes. And that's confusing for him. Anyway, so my kids haven't gotten there yet, but I heard all these stories about, well, Miss Sara this and Miss Sara this. And it was a Wednesday night. I had showed up to volunteer in the preschool class, and I didn't know you, but I saw you, and I was like, that's got to be Miss Sara.
That is Miss Sara.
Like an aura around you. Like, that's the lady. That's her.
And the costume. The costume's usually given away.
Yeah, it's a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
You could be a crazy person, or you could be in charge. Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah. Security's not stopping her. It must be Miss Sara.
Right. This must be allowed.
So, Myndi, you guys go way back.
Yeah, I worked with Miss Sara back during the Suzanne Good regime, and Sara was the storyteller. So I have worked in this crazy area with Sara since, gosh, that's been...
beginning of time, I think.
Yeah, beginning of time. But she was the storyteller, and my kids were just infatuated with her. They told me, she does this special talk, and the way her voice goes, and I said, no, that's her voice. But they thought it was special just for, the kids, which I thought was hilarious. But, we started working together back then, and we've worked together ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should tell how I sucked you into my vortex of children's ministry.
Oh, yeah.
I pursued her because I knew she had skills, and she kept telling me, no, I can't, no. And she was just flat out, like, turning the corner when she saw me coming.
That's what people do when I walk by now?
Yeah, don't take it personally.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really that busy, I'm sure. But, so it was a VBS, and I was way in over my head because it was the science VBS. So we'd get done with VBS, and then I'd spend like 5 hours setting up the experiment for the next day. Myndi drove by and saw my car there about, 10:30 or 11?
Yeah, it was late.
And came in and said, fine, I will help you.
that?
Oh, that was the second VBS we ever did, so that had to be 11 years ago, 10 years ago. It was, but you know how it's our nature to go, oh, I don't want you to help if you're angry. I was like, thank you, Jesus.
Yeah, she'd been calling me every year after I had quit working.
You had retired.
Yeah, I had retired. I had left staff. And she'd call me and say, do you want to help with VBS? And I'd go, yeah, no. And she'd say, you sure you don't want to come and help? I need some help with, no, I'm not ready to come back to work with the kids. And so finally I was driving by there and I did. I saw her car and I came in and I walked into her office and I couldn't even see anything. There was stuff piled to the ceiling. I went, fine.
You knew it right then an intervention needed to take place.
Oh my goodness, yes. I gathered up the women. I said, all right, look, she cannot be here until 11 o'clock at night. We got to do something.
You did mess up my get fired plan, though. So
No. I have a list of things that you've done to try to get fired.
Can we share those later?
Oh yeah. No, seriously, I have a list.
Oh, she has it in her pocket.
I do. Top things to get fired.
that didn't work.
That did not work.
Take note.
Number one, bringing in 2 tons of sand.
That was the
I've heard about that. Yes.
Silly stringing the
Activity Center stage.
yes, which Doug Anthony had to repaint.
Yeah. Who knew that took paint off? And we were spraying it at kids.
It's all for the
That's
kids.
weird.
Yes.
In the name of Jesus.
It ate the paint off the stage. So that one actually kind of made me laugh because watching Doug Anthony repaint that stage was...
We love you, Doug, wherever you are.
That was hilarious. Well, I'll save this list for later.
Okay. We only get 2. Okay. So, Sarah, you have been able to accomplish a lot in your ministry because you've been really good about equipping other leaders and bringing other people. But if we're really honest, it's a lot easier for ourselves personally if we're just really selfish and hoard all the power for ourselves.
Yep. And I had that for quite a while. It's a lot easier to be a lone wolf and just do it the way I want to do it. But you just hit this wall where there's no way you're going to get it done. Trunk or Treat is a perfect example of that. There is no way. There aren't enough hours in the day, even if they move the sun back, like in the Bible story. I forget who that was. Somebody. I think he starts with the E. I'm retired now. I don't know.
Not quite.
But what I learned, because I had a real fear, I'm sensitive and I cry, and it would hurt my feelings if I worked up the courage to ask somebody, could you help me? And they said no, multiple times.
Oops.
You traumatized her.
So I had that fear, and that was one of the awesome things that God showed me is I provide. You don't have to strive for the people. But if I prompt you, there's Erin, ask her, and then 99% of the time you get a yes, which is such a blessing. But Satan will get you on that one because the no is usually because, you're wearing the wrong color shirt today or something, and then I walk around going, yeah, I know I never should have worn this shirt today. So. But I've been healed of that it actually blesses other people to be involved. Trunk and Treat is, I don't understand why people volunteer and they just love it, Because Trunk and Treat to me, I recognize that people are drawn to our church because Jesus is here. They want to be where Jesus is. In my mindset as a parent, I would bargain with my kids. Like, I'll buy you a new video game if we do not have to stand in that line. But it's such a joyous night. And all the people that are working right now, and just to tell people Jesus loves you. Yeah. It's the best gig in the whole world. I'm so jealous of you and Kayla. But I've aged out. I've definitely aged out.
That's not what she was saying yesterday, so I'm going to go on the record to say.
I believe I quit was mentioned several times.
Yeah.
That's okay. So there are many other leaders and volunteers that have been influenced by your leadership. But the reason that I wanted these women on this conversation today is because Kayla and Erin will be each taking a shoe. And going forward in ministry here at Shining Alliance. But if you are from outside of Shining Alliance, I still believe that you can be impacted just by the love and the leadership that Sara has passed on to us. And Myndi, you keep Sara in line.
She smacks me on the forehead.
Well, and I what you're saying too, I think is so true, because I come in here and volunteer, yes, because I love Jesus, yes, because I love this church, but because of Sara Newman.
Yeah.
You know, I hate to say this, but women's relationship goals, right?
Yeah.
Because I like to think of us as like, you know, Naomi and Ruth, or, you know, for most days we go for those kinds of things, but I told her the other day, I think we're more Bert and Ernie most of the time. You know, Lucy and Ethel or whatever. But because of that relationship, you know, she's been fantastic. I came in here at a time in my life when, you know, things weren't going so great, and she was my rock. She was my everything, where, you know, God put her in my life for a reason. He knew my life was going to go south, and I got to come in here and be in church. I got to come in here and be with Sara. I got to come in here and work through all that. And without that relationship in my life, you know.
Yeah. And my life, you know, went south too. It's that you have ministry, but the world still gets your life, you know, and just to have these guys is, God always provides the right person at the right time. So it's, Erin and I got to go away to a children's conference in Atlanta, and we laughed so hard we had to use the restroom right away. But that was when I was like, oh, she's the one. And that was, what, 2.5 years ago, I think. It was a while, so that's when we started praying you in.
Oh, that's good. Well, the question I want to ask you, ladies, someone had asked me this at a women's conference several years ago, and they had us, like, write down the names of people that had impacted our faith. And so the question that they asked is, I know Jesus better because of, and then he filled in the name. So the question I have for Kayla, Myndi, and Erin is, you know Jesus better because of Sara Newman, because...
I can go first. One thing Sarah's taught me, and I can finish that sentence, is just the way she pours into all the people around her, not just the students. You know, you get into kids, men, and you think you're just going to be teaching kids about Jesus and how much they're loved. But Sara has shown me Christ's love, just the way she loves all the people around her and how she ministers to myself and Kayla and Myndi, and just anyone that walks through the door. So she gets to show me Jesus and everyone around her too.
Tissues, please.
On back, Kayla, you're on back.
Listen, I don't ever leave home without them.
Excellent.
Or wet wipes. You just don't. You're just asking for it if you do that. Yeah, I don't know how to put this story in, like, understandable terms. Sara, I'm thankful for Sara because on Sundays and Wednesdays specifically, like, when I just feel super overwhelmed coming in here, and I haven't been doing, like, a month. It's, like, nothing. But it's one of those, okay, I'm going to go, and Sara will be there, and I can get a hug before I start everything. And I'm a touchy-feely person, so that means the world to me. And even this last Wednesday, I showed up and just, it's really easy to hear lies in your head louder than truth. And just knowing I was coming to a place where whether I ran into Erin or whether I ran into Sara, I would run into someone that I could look at and say, listen, I'm going to say this because it's what's tooling in my head, and it's going to sound crazy, but I just need to get it out of my head because I know it's not truth. And to be able to share that with you and to have you affirm, like, hey, I've had thoughts like that too, and this is a similar story, and you know what, this is how God used it in my life. And just, it's that reminder of I'm not alone. I'm crazy, but I'm not too crazy. Right? And just like that sense of just not just vulnerability, but family, what church really is, to know I can come here and be real about what's going on in my life, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. And I appreciate that about you, whether it's my kids are losing their minds or I'm losing my mind, just that you're a safe person to be around. Yeah. And I feel like that's Jesus in you, that just bring your stuff, bring whatever it is and come. Yeah. So, yeah.
And plus, you could sell your hugs, Kayla.
Yeah.
They are so good. Yeah. They give me strength.
Oh.
So, thank you.
So for me, it's I know, I look at Sarah.
Everybody grab a tissue.
It's completely different. Sarah is my best bud. She's my everything. I hate to say that, other than my husband. Sorry, dear. But so it's so many different things because so hard to talk. Sorry. I came in and she showed me Jesus in so many different ways. She's a mentor. She's my best friend. We tease each other. I tell her she completes me, and I make a little heart when I do it.
And then she makes a comment about my public speaking.
Yeah, I do. We tease each other. We come in and we say things like, whose turn is it to, to be dying? Because I had a headache today. I have a tumor, I'm sure. Where's yours? And mine's over here. Oh, that's good because mine's here. But
you know what'll fix it? Snickers.
we eat candy together. We say our lives are in shambles together, but then she points out everything I need to hear. Mm-hmm. So she shows me that like Jeremiah 29:11. That's what I held on to the whole time I've been here with Sarah. She points that out to me. You know what God has planned for you. He knows what God has planned for our future. We have a future together, even after retirement. So she's modeled behavior for me. She's pointed out everything I need to know. She's got me reading the Bible. She's got me doing everything I need to be doing.
It's a Bible without pictures.
It's a Bible without pictures. She started me off with the Veggie Tale one, but she's moved me up. She's my best friend.
And my advice for you two is when you hit the hard part where you're just standing in the middle of the office, go to the sanctuary and pray right under the cross. We have done that so many times. And
we really have.
It'll get you through that day. It'll get you through that week. Because it is hard. There is warfare. Mm-hmm. But I'm jealous. No. But I'll be jealous from retirement.
From Arizona.
Yeah, from Arizona. I'm going to bring you back a cactus.
I'll try to keep it alive.
That's on you. I have black thumbs.
And remember, I will be back in 2 weeks, and I'm going to be that volunteer.
Okay.
Yeah, we've decided whose desks we're taking over.
Where are you going to go? That's funny.
Yeah.
I think for me, I've only known Sarah for how many years?
I know, but my daughter already said, "Do you like Bridgett more than me?"
Oh.
Both of my kids have done the same thing.
I think Sarah, I definitely would classify Sarah as a seer prophet. And so.
Oh no!
Yeah,
no.
you're gonna shut up and receive that.
And that's why I love Bridgett. She smacks me on the forehead too.
But just that idea that being in that feeler prophetic realm of being able to come and process what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling. Like I know that I have a safe, trustworthy person that can say, "Did Jesus really say that?" Or "Yeah, that was Jesus. Like I felt that too." And just being able to come in that place of, and for me, like the first language that I had when the Lord started putting prophetic women in my life was, "Wow, your Jesus looks a lot like mine." And that was in the beginning. That was the only thing that I had to like explain what I was feeling in that connection. But now, like from the other side of just the way that God gives you pictures and just that time that you but set apart for the Lord, that you really do believe that He's going to talk and what He says is real. Because there's a lot of people in a lot of areas in ministry mentorship where it's people know a lot about what you're supposed to do in ministry, but they don't actually teach you like, well, I was struggling through this anxiety, or I felt like I was going to puke about this, and God said this, and I did it. And just that, being able to set that standard of women in this church who are in leadership of, yeah, it's important that we know how to do things and take care of children and take care of whoever we're leading. But it's really important that we say, wow, I'm a mess. I need to go be with Jesus. Mm-hmm. And when I ask Him for something, He's actually going to come and talk with me.
Yeah.
And what He says is really true. And I mean, for me, and I would love for you to share too, when you did your retreat last year. that was so, like, life-changing for you, but also for us. It was like, wow, like, she valued the season that she had enough, and she really believed that if she would go and set apart time for the Lord, that he'd come listen. And so, I mean, that's what we see the whole part of, like, that the saying of get yourself in situations where if God doesn't come through, like, it's going to be really bad. Like, either this is God or this is insane, but I'll find out either way. I'll find out either way.
And what I've learned now through those seasons is it's not going to be bad. It will be different. What you fear is not necessarily a bad thing. You just don't know. And Jesus is going to be there, you know, that, and that was on the retreat. Because what I was doing was I was spooling about, I just made up my retirement date. I made the whole thing up because I had a bad week. I'm leaving this, you know, and it's going to be catastrophic because I'm disobeying God. And I had worked myself into a snit. So actually my retreat was Chris telling me, you're going somewhere. I don't care where you're going. But here's a retreat center, you know, which made me stand in the hall going, I'm older than you. I can take you. And thank you, Chris. That was the bravest, most wonderful thing you ever did for me. And I heard Jesus. I was doing weird things. Like I went, all I had was a chocolate chip cookie and a bottle of water, and I decided I was going to take communion. And I thought, oh, you need to sing. You know, I want to worship, but I cannot sing. So I thought I'd talk it, but I sounded like I was rapping, how great thou art. And I saw Jesus, like, and he's laughing, and I start laughing. And I heard Jesus say, I love it. It's from your heart. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. And that was my hug, and that was my corner. Yeah. And
I love you.
I know. Oh, it was bad. Especially when you're all by yourself in this little cabin, you know, and here's the chocolate chips. The chips are the sin, and you're the cookie, Jesus. You know?
You can tell you've been in children's ministry.
I know. Everything's a metaphor, you know.
So, as your last official staff podcast, well, we'll have you back. But with epiphanies from the desert. Yes, for a nice luxurious retreat.
That's not a metaphor. I'm going to the desert for 2 weeks. So.
What have you learned about God's kindness in these past 11 years, right?
Yeah. Oh, my past 62 years.
Well, that too, but...
Yeah. It is eternal. His patience with you is never ending. He loves you, period. Not because, just period.
That's good.
And you are chosen. If you're here, you are chosen. And he honors commitment. He honors showing up when you've got nothing but vapors. And you won't miss the message. You will know in the pits of your heart, you know. And the icing on the cake is he gives you people to go through it with who get you, you know, who. But also, it's a roller coaster. You know that meme of the ladies in the front seat? This is what the Holy Spirit looks like. Sometimes your hands are up and sometimes your hands are on the safety bar at all times. And I am going to love watching you two go through this. I'm here for you. And Mindy and I will pray for you as we're driving to go for lunch. We'll bring you something back.
Well, Sarah, we love you.
I love you too, Bridgett. But not more than my daughter.
No. And we appreciate you. We appreciate what you brought to this house. The number of children that have had to have less time without knowing Jesus because of your sacrifice to teach them in a way that they get it. So we're so thankful. And for everyone listening, if you are a Miss Sarah fan, please share this episode. You can share it with your friends and tell us, what's your favorite Sarah memory? We'd love to know.
I can't wait to hear that.
Silly memory.
That's very good.
Whatever it is. Just thank you so much for supporting her through all of these years, and we would love to hear your feedback. So thank you for everyone for listening, and thank you, ladies, for being here today.
We love you, Sarah.
We love you, Sarah.
Thanks for listening to Tuesday Talks with Shawnee Alliance Church. Let us know your thoughts by leaving a review, and be sure to subscribe, rate, and share. If you would like to join our conversation on social media, be sure to use the hashtag TuesdayTalksWithSAC. Thanks for listening to this week's episode, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.